Hi, this is Marty. No, just kidding. Hi, this is Jeff Loomis, and you're watching Total Guitar.
Hey, this is Michael Amott, and this is Total Guitar.
What's up? This is Marty Friedman. You're watching Total Guitar. We just met just now, but we had worked together on a project. You wrote the song?
Yeah.
He wrote the song, I produced it, I played a guitar solo on it, and a Japanese band played it. So we
That was
kind
like
of,
a couple of years ago.
a couple years ago, that's how we kind of met, talking about the song's direction, but this is the first time we've ever met. Of course, I've heard his music and, seen articles on him and stuff like that.
Amazing. And for you, Jeff?
I met Marty in '88, I believe.
Really?
Yes, at a show at the Thirsty Whale in Chicago.
You were at that show?
Yes, I was. Yes. And that's when I first met him, and I said hi to you briefly. And that was ages ago.
Yeah.
But it was that was my first encounter with Marty. With Michael, it was like, I believe 15 years ago at a festival or something like that, when Nevermore and Arch Enemy were playing the same show. So, yeah,
Great.
quite a history.
And there's like a shared history in a way between Marty and you, because obviously Marty played Megadeth for a bit, and yourself, I know you auditioned with them. So there's that
You
kind of...
auditioned for Megadeth?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When?
Right before I told you that I did.
You told me you did.
Yeah, when I met you in Chicago, I told you that I'd just gotten back from an audition that I did in LA with Megadeth.
Well, I was still in Cacophony.
And you were still in Cacophony, and you didn't really say too much about it, but like 2 weeks later, you were in the band. So that's crazy how that
I didn't know about it at that point.
Yeah, I literally sent the tape when I was like 16 to Dave, and they really loved it. But when I showed up for the audition, they didn't know that I was the age that I was. And they're like, what's this? You know, so they said, thanks for coming, but you're too young and too green. You don't belong in this band.
Bummer, dude.
Yeah. So that's what happened with all that. Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you right now, and I heard your recent song, War Eternal, and it's just the touch and the tone, and it's like real metal tone. It's like if you want an example of metal guitar playing, you just go directly there. And that's really something that you can't fake. And this is something I've been talking about with the guys in Shining, because they're pretty much basically jazz guys, but they get the metal thing. And it's so few people who can do both. But like your sound and your lead and rhythm playing, I mean, it's just like metal is oozing out of it. It's very cool.
Wow. Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
And as for you, Jeff, I mean, getting the call to come and join Arch Enemy, at least for this run, must have felt pretty bloody amazing.
It's great. Yeah, I've always been a fan, since the very beginning. I've always loved Michael's playing. Absolutely awesome player. Great feel. And just a great riff writer, man. I love the songs. I'm very happy to be here. Couldn't be more honored. Yeah. And Marty, of course, I can't say enough about Marty. I love Marty's playing. Been listening to him for a long time.
And for you, Michael, what was it in Jeff that made you realise that's the guy?
Well, I've asked him twice before if he wants to play with Arch Enemy, but he's turned me down both times. But kind of. No, he's just been too busy. I mean, originally I formed Arch Enemy with my brothers. So we were like two brothers playing guitar, my brother Chris. But he's sort of left the band twice, at various points in our career. And Jeff was always my first call. But he had Nevermore, of course. I love Nevermore. I love their music. Jeff wrote all the music for that, and really amazing talent and a nice guy. I always say it's more than 50% is about the personality, really, people you're going to play with. And I always knew that he had a great personality. So, yeah, there was just a natural thing. Now, since third time, I got lucky. He was available. So I went to his house in Seattle. We had a little jam and a little talk, drank a lot of coffee, and then just decided right there and then, I guess. It was a good idea. But I'm really excited. It's like having an old friend out on the road, and we have such different styles, but I think we complement each other. It's not, people ask, a lot of fans seem to think it's like a competition between guitar players, but it doesn't really work like that for me anyway. It's just, I love Neil Young's guitar playing, and I love Jeff Loomis. I love Marty. I love Ingvar Malmsteen. I love all the different extremes of. I
Because
just love.
Neil
I
Young
love.
is the extreme of anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, he's kind of like a pure expression as well. I like that, and I like a lot of punk and very simple music. That's kind of what I grew up on first, actually, before I got into the metal thing. So I really have an appreciation for just energy and just if somebody's got a good vibe, if you can put across what you want to put across, I think then you're a good player.
Do you think there's a chance of Jeff and you working together like closely in the future in Arch Enemy? Do you think that will continue?
We're trying to, get him to sign a big contract, 20-year contract. No, I think so. I mean, that's real. I think we both want that, and it would be a lot of fun. And,
Yeah.
We have tremendous, we just love Jeff. A lot of respect for him. Hope that this is gonna, I just want this to be it, really. Yeah.
Can I go on the record with something? I fucking hate that word. Can I get a witness from you guys?
Yeah, it's like all the shredding, the melting faces thing is just.
Well, that's one. Melting faces is a little bit better than shredding. I would say.
Okay, it's a little better, but it's like it's so overused now. It's like, is that where guitar has gone? Is just to the shred factor? I mean, I myself am pretty diverse with what I listen to with guitar, so it seems like everybody just wants this shredding thing all the time. I don't know. It's kind of bizarre.
I look at it this way: like that word has come up a lot more recently,
Right.
for whatever reason.
Why is that?
Why is it? But like, it seems like there's an interest in guitar more than there was like maybe say 5 or 7 years ago. And if that brings more interest to us and guitar and rock and heavy music and exciting music, you can call it whatever you want. But like when I grew up, that word meant guys who sucked. Because like I was always of the mindset that when you don't have anything interesting to play, you play fast. And I can tell it happens in my playing very much. Like if I'm nervous or if I don't really know what I'm doing, I just play fast. And that's what shredding is to me. I mean, that has nothing to do with music. I mean, it's cheese, shredded cheese. I mean, it's not cool. But if somebody thinks it's cool out there and they go out and buy your record, or my record, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's difficult, isn't it? It's I love early Ingvar Malmsteen. I think that was kind of, I don't know if that was the beginning of shred with it. I don't know. Frank Marino as well. I mean,
Frank Marino,
he was just ripping so fast, like very, very fast, like really energetic, pentatonic stuff. Way before Zach Wilde, and I don't know. It's just difficult, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not really. I don't consider myself a shredder at all. I just play guitar. I like to play something memorable if possible.
Yeah,
certainly.
I think ultimately it comes down to the music, which is the most important thing. You know what I mean?
The content of what you're playing.
Exactly.
The content gets you going. If the content is interesting, the content makes you feel good, it makes you happy or sad or whatever.
Yeah.
The content. So the speed of something is so irrelevant.
Totally.
But most of the people watching this and people who read guitar magazines, they play in 1 or 2 years, they can't get over the fact that why can't I play fast like these guys? It's so impossible.
Yeah. And it's so important.
it's so impossible to those people. And those are the people who pay money to buy magazines and all that stuff. So let them shred all they want because it's interesting to them. But like once you play for 3 years, anybody can play fast.
Yeah.
So then it comes to the point of, okay, now I can play fast.
Do I have something to say?
You have something to say. Do you have some like content? Do I have some interesting music that's going to come out? Once you get the motor skills done, okay, now I got motor skills. Now what am I going to say musically?
Yeah.
So this is very important.
Yeah.
I think if you look at heavy metal or metal, two of my favorite bands are maybe, Judas Priest or Iron Maiden. The guitar players in those bands are not the best guitar players in the world, and they're not really shredders, but they play great solos in a great band with great songs, great melodies.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I'd like to see Arch Enemy. Instead of being like a circus, a freak show or something. You got to see this guitar player. So this really should be about the songs, I think.
It's about music is the ultimate way of expressing yourself, I think, and usually from each guitar player that I know, they have a few cool tools that they're able to use, and it's the way that you utilize those tools to make yourself known is what's most important.
But I have to admit, there was a time when I bought, Cacophony albums, the first solo album, Dragon's Kiss, and Perpetual Burn by your friend.
Yeah.
And I was really interested in that scene, Racer X as well. I just thought because then it was kind of like the next level. It just seemed really extreme to me, and I was really it was really appealing to me, the extremity factor of how fast it was. So I can kind of the live album with Racer X with Paul Gilbert. It just seemed so extreme. I was really interested in that. But as you kind of go through life, and yes, you go by and you get more experience, you're not that interested in the speed anymore. But I can totally see why it was interesting. I used to love fast thrash metal, speed metal. I was really into all that. Whereas now I'm not as focused on speed.
See, I think hearing that makes me feel really good, and I think the reason why it might have appealed to you because, of course, the speed might have knocked you out, but like the content was really, really interesting.
Yeah,
if I say so myself.
I like the riffs actually. The riffs were sick, so sick.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That like on the surface one might listen to it and dismiss it and go, "Oh, it's just a bunch of fast wanking." Well, there was plenty of wanking on there, definitely, as the English like to say. But I think the content was enough to like get the interest of people who like really felt something from it.
Yeah.
Then they think, oh my God, it's like really extreme and crazy. But there must have been something in there because if it's just a guy playing exercises at full speed, I don't think anybody would have been interested.
Actually, I shouldn't compare Razor X to Cacophony. I think Cacophony was way more experimental. Like the Razor X was more, I don't know, it's nitpicking, but that was more very much traditional. Then we kind of sped up a little. But I mean, these guys were just, that was fairly groundbreaking.
Yeah, like you kind of went in with that mindset though of making that.
We wanted to disturb people.
Right.
What we wanted to do, and even like the record label, Mike Varney, he was like, "This is too crazy. I don't like it. It's too dissonant." And we're like,
"Yeah, I like the dissonance."
Yeah, that's the point. He had all these guys playing all these like classical things on electric guitar, and to me that just reminded me of Hooked on Classics, and it just no Bach on guitar, no concertos on guitar, but like. Jason and I were into like Stravinsky and Philip Glass and all this stuff that was like really kind of painful to listen to. So that's why we dressed up like Poison, because otherwise no girls would show up to our shows. But like we were definitely into like disturbing things and being dissonant. And at the time, not very many people listened to it at all.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But I was in Sweden just buying that on vinyl, and I was really into it. Played it a lot.
I still have them on vinyl, as a matter of fact.
I like something simple, actually. I tour most of the year, and I travel with my, with a preamp and, with my guitars. I just want something simple that I can just get my sound out of, rental backlines or we tour all over the world. All continents basically. You don't always want to get the same gear. We don't ship our full backline. But we have our own backline because it's based in Germany. But next tour we're gonna do is gonna be Latin America. You don't know what's in store. Once you're going on stage in Colombia or wherever. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great. So I like to have consistency, and I do that through a digital preamp nowadays. But I think my attitude is just like, I don't have that many sounds, and I've never been like, had the patience to program, 99 sounds that just have, 5, something like different tones. Yeah, for me, it's very simple. I think most of it's kind of like how you play anyway.
Yeah.
I hear my tech, he'll line check my guitar. I'm like, holy shit, this doesn't sound like great today. And then I play it sounds fine.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
I'm just the opposite.
Every tech could do it.
My tech plays, it sounds great, and then when I play, why does it sound like shit now?
Really? Oh, really? Yeah,
I'm just the opposite.
I keep it pretty simple too, man. I just have a couple of, a rhythm, a clean, and a solo channel, and I'm using the Kemper stuff now, where I just basically get, I have a bunch of heads at home. I profile the things I like, and they're all in there. It's just like a little lunchbox of flavors of all these tones, and I used to be kind of old school where I just plug into any head and that was fine, but now I've kind of refined my tone a little bit to what I really, really, really like, and it works for me. And usually I run direct with it, so it's very consistent each night, You're not getting a lot of backwash from the cab. It's just that tone coming directly through the
Are you
cab.
running direct now?
I'm running direct, but with a cab, so I can hear myself when I step back a bit too. So it's very consistent every night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I think we all idolized, the guys that came before us that had the classic, setup, but it's just, I don't know. What would Hendrix play today? I don't think he'd be playing Marshalls, to be honest. I don't know. I should say that. But who knows, because he was very forward. That was the latest development then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now he'd probably be playing, I don't know, probably through a software or something. I have no idea what, but people that are very forward thinking, you see people that are experimental today, they tend to use all kinds of stuff, utilize technology. I guess the three of us have been playing for so long that I guess we're fairly traditional in a way, our approach. But I'm still open to whatever. This is a constant thing, isn't it? People with guitar players talk about, always looking for. Seems like in the last few years there's been a lot of development though, with like the Kemper things and stuff like that. That whole thing with modeling as well has become very much more advanced than what it was at the start. Because it used to sound like shit. Now you don't even know if it is a real amp or not. It's very close.
And where do you stand on it, Marty?
I use angles, and they have a lot of models, and to me, they all sound good. So whatever they prepare for me, whatever they prepare is fine. And that, to be honest with you, I don't even know what kind of amp they're using today. They sent a couple amps, and they've always been good. We've done 2 shows already. They sound fine. Like he said before, I don't like to sit around tweaking tones, especially for this tour right now. It's just the balls out, playing full on the whole time. Like, it depends on the gig. If you're playing like with a lot of clean tones and ballads and a lot of textures and stuff, then before the tour you get in a rehearsal space and you get a couple suitable tones. But that's probably the last thing I would want to do with my life. I'd rather sit around reading Viz or something than tweaking tones, So I'm not a very technical gear guy at all. If it sounds good, then I'm ready to go.
I think definitely your surroundings. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And also the music that you grew up with. Before I heard anything, I probably heard ABBA and stuff like that. A lot of melodic, and also the Swedish folk music is very melancholic, very minor sounding.
If you grew up with ABBA, you definitely get a good ear for way songs are created, and melodies and harmonies.
That's what I think so.
That was awesome.
Either that or it's born in Swedish people. Because
Something in the
they
water,
seem
right?
to make such great melodic songs and such clever arrangements and just beautifully pitched harmonies and just great music comes out of Sweden and Norway with my bros over here. But I always just wondered what's up with Scandinavia and music because it just something is really cool over there.
Yeah.
So I think there's a very melancholic sort of melodic vibe to a lot of even in pop actually that comes from Sweden a lot of times. But I don't know. And with Japan, I think I think they like that there. They like the melancholic.
Well, definitely. A lot comes from folk music.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, there's a kind of happiness that makes you sad and sadness that makes you happy in Japanese music. When you just hit the right note over the right chord over the right timing and you get a chill. Yeah. That's what I'm constantly going for all the time. And when you get that, it's wonderful. And I find that in Japanese pop music, that comes up a lot more than, say, in your American mainstream.
I don't like that at all, actually, how that is, those kind of melodies that are used in American pop music.
Yeah, I find that
popular music.
American pop music is based on the vocalist's ability rather than the magic of the vocalist's voice. It's like this American Idol, you've got to be a fantastic singer and you have to be able to sing ad-libs, soulful like Aretha Franklin and high like Celine Dion, and you have to have all these chops. Where in Japan, nobody has these chops, but every singer has the magic in their voice. And that to me is just, I get off on that. I like Madonna. I mean, she doesn't have any of those chops. Look how great her songs are. Look how forward-thinking she is. 30 years later, still like leading with original things and ideas and stuff. And that concept goes closer to Japan than it does in America. So that might be one of the reasons why I like being in the music scene there.
What kind of music did you grow up on?
I'd probably same as you. I mean, I started with Kiss and Black Sabbath and the
Yeah.
Ramones, and then of course
I was
Priest
like
and Maiden.
70s, like Queen, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Brian May, ELO, Fleetwood Mac, stuff like that.
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Very unmentioned in metal, but I love his guitar playing.
Lindsey Buckingham's awesome, amazing guitar player.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm really honored and privileged that I grew up with a father that had tons of 70s vinyl, because I would just find myself in the basement all day long just listening to all this music. And I think ELO was very ahead of their time. Electric Light Orchestra,
very much.
Jeff Lynne, with the music that they wrote. So yeah, just loving stuff like that.
That's great. I think that's
Yeah.
a big influence. I think that's a bigger influence. Your parents' record collection was probably a big influence
Yeah, huge.
than people would think. Because definitely a group so David Bowie, and Stevie Wonder, a lot of Motown and Stax stuff that my parents had. My mother was a big classical music fan, and I've never really actively listened to classical music myself, but she was always blasting that stuff. Yeah, it's just things like that. I think they play a much bigger role than you think, actually, because it's kind of ingrained in you, those kind of melodies. Wow, that's so difficult. I think we're all fans of a lot of different ones, maybe or a lot of different players have meant a lot of the years, different chapters of it.
I don't know, maybe you feel the same way, but like once you're playing music for a long time, it's not like there's this one guy who's a constant inspiration to you to play music anymore. It's like people think, I grew up with Jeff Beck and I'm Jeff Beck's idol. So it's really not like, it's a very difficult question because it's not really anyone who either of us have followed their footsteps. So we might be inspired by people for different reasons than they're just playing. Maybe the way they do their work, or maybe the way whatever they've done outside of music or anything. So if I have to answer that question, I have to definitely say Jason Becker. Because I mean, obviously he's playing, but I mean, he's my best friend, and you know how he is. And just like anytime there's any problem, I just think, what would Jason do? And then I'm okay. So, so people get inspired for different things. But when you're a little kid, I would have been, Ace Frehley, Paul Stanley, Johnny Ramone, Tony Iommi. If I was anything like any of those guys, I'd be fantastic. But once you like play in a band for a while, then that kind of stuff, you start dealing with your own problems,
It's a really difficult question.
Yeah.
I was dreading this.
You can be like an Ace
I'm giving you
Frehley
guys
for-
some time.
Ace
I was
Frehley's
into
a good
Ace Frehley
one.
for non-musical reasons, just because he was such an iconic
Yeah,
figure.
yeah.
The way he looked and the way his stage presence was like kind of hair-raising and scary. It's like that was cool. But musically speaking, I definitely agree with Jason there. Of course, I mean, amazing individual. Other players, Brian May. Brian May was a huge influence on me just because of his melody and sense of harmony, that he used, and just really having his own incredible style, such an identifiable style. When you hear his playing, you know immediately it's him, I think. So, yeah.
Definitely. So, Michael, I don't suppose I could get that one key player from you.
We're buying you a whole lot of time here.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking my mind's racing. I've taken a lot of influence probably from a certain era of Michael Schenker. From 74 to 84, with UFO and also his other solo stuff. I really very expressive player, a lot of emotion, and he plays a lot of pentatonic, but really it doesn't really sound like blues stuff. It's I think his influences were maybe Leslie West and Jeff Beck and people like that as well. It all goes. Probably my number one is probably Jimi Hendrix. If I have to pick one guy, it was a very boring choice, maybe. But I like what he did. I like he's a great songwriter as well, which I like. It's very important.
So in reality, we just dropped like 10 names.
10 names, yeah, because there's been so many.
There's
along
so
the
many,
way.
yeah.
You're all, Dave Mustaine kind of reinvented thrash, bringing like kind of put a more progressive touch on it, maybe, or very twisted, very like difficult to play riffs, and that really inspired me a lot as well at the time in the mid '80s. But Michael Schenker is probably my favorite lead player. Everything that he plays kind of sounds good, pleasing to my ears.
It's amazing how certain records or songs or solos change your life. Like for me, obviously, when I heard the Symphony of Destruction solo, I heard that kind of half diminished run you do, kind of like a quarter of the way into the solo. That made my ears prick up, and that made me think, I need to learn how to do this.
Actually, I've changed my mind. I think Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath. Because I was just thinking about like how if you think about somebody who's actually writing songs, playing killer leads, and running a band, and doing everything right, and keeping a band going for 45 years. That's something to look up to, I think.
Good answer.
Because Michael Schenker's kind of a shambles a lot of the time in every other aspect apart from his guitar playing.
There's a band called Sky Harbor, and it's pretty much run by this guy named Keshav Dar, who's the guitar player. And he's worked on 2 of my albums, one called Tokyo Jukebox 2, and also we did a song together on Inferno. When I heard his guitar playing, I'm like, this guy is doing something new and fresh. Some people call the genre kind of gent, but gent as a genre has, like everything else, a very wide range of quality and depth. Sometimes on the surface it sounds, that sounds like that genre, but then it's very light. But when you hear Keshav's playing, it's got so many beautiful nuances and so much conviction, and he just nails it so hard, and it's his thing. It's his thing. So when I heard him play, I'm like, dude, you are going to be the guitar star right now. You're going to come up, just keep doing what you're doing and do it with me, whatever it is you're doing. Let's do it together. So we worked on some songs together, and he actually did some arrangements with me together, and a very musical, intense guitarist. I recommend him heavily. Awesome. Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of players. I really like Nick Johnston. He's a Canadian guitar player that has a couple instrumental albums out right now. He's just a really, really awesome player. Nick Johnston. Check him out. Yeah, he's really great.
New one.
Yeah.
Rock?
Rock, blues kind of thing. Yeah, really great.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And for you, Michael?
I don't really follow like guitar players now. I don't have a current favorite or anything. I like the old stuff that I like, and and I just don't spend a lot of time listening to electric guitar music, maybe because I'm always playing it, I guess they could. I mean, I even don't listen to, I love Gary Moore, but I very rarely play his records nowadays. It's just you kind of know what you kind of have it inside you. I take what I like from different things, and I like. I don't know, you were playing me some stuff that I liked the other day, but there was no guitar in it either.
Yeah, sometimes I listen to music with no guitar in it. I
find that very relaxing.
Daft Punk.
No, I almost listen to everything with no guitar.
Yeah.
At all.
What else?
That's very relaxing, actually, because if there's a guitar player involved, I'm always like, well, it definitely does.
Yeah.
My brother sucked. Or,
I totally get it.
Those boring licks again are great.
They have the space in the solo, and that's where automatically you don't want to do it, but you judge the guy.
Yeah.
You judge how suitable for the song it is or not, and that kind of colors your listening experience. And I don't want to have to judge a guy; I just want to enjoy the music.
Exactly.
I like a lot of stuff with synths as well, like computers, and it's fun. I think there's another. I wish I knew how to do that, but guitar is my instrument.
I like Goldfrapp. Did you ever hear Goldfrapp?
What's that?
It's like
I know the name. I don't know.
It's kind of like a new age.
This is not good for this magazine.
Yeah, Ace Hall. I have such a diverse listening experience,
Especially in England. I remember when I was.
I think they are like an English band.
Is this for England? When I was in Megadeth, it's a funny story. There was an English band called Republica.
Oh yeah.
That I really liked. So every time, the only place I could get their CDs was when I came to England, and I'd said it in some interview. And somebody from the record company says, Marty, don't mention that ever again in the interview. I think the publicist from EMI said, don't, they have this kind of image in England. I really don't know. I just liked it. So apparently the English people really care about what we say when we answer these questions. But I am not afraid of anything. I'm the biggest Britney Spears fan in the world. I play with idols in Japan all the time. I have no fear. I could care less what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's my story. So, like, say what you want to say, man. I'm interested.
Man. I love Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
Great.
Because you're a big ABBA fan right here.
Yeah. ABBA. We
Me
got some
too.
ABBA. Yeah. God, it's just.
I was one of my favorite
so
bands of all
long.
time.
How can you not
From
like
ABBA
ABBA?
to Black Sabbath.
Yeah. How can you not like it?
Yeah. It's like every song almost is just genius.
It's really genius.
I've never heard a really bad ABBA song.
Really genius.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have guitars and we have amps.
You have guitar and amp, so you can take one thing that isn't a guitar or an amp, and it could be a processor. It could just be a tiny little fuzz pedal.
How about a gorgeous chick?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll play straight through the amp.
Exactly. Play with a shitty tone as long as I can play with boobies.
Yeah. Girl.
Yeah.
I'll agree.
We've been on tour for 3 months without you, but that's all we think about.
I think that'd be all we think about with you if we're on tour or not.
No, I don't know. Like, I think I agree with what Marty said before. I'm not really a technical guy. I've just always... I'm in a position now where I have, signature model guitars and, various things like that I endorse that are great. But it's not my main focus, really.
I don't know if I'd want to play guitar if I was on a deserted island.
No, there's no reason.
Are there any people on the
Who
island?
are you going to play for?
It's totally up to you. You can invent the crowd. You can rent the crowd.
Rent a crowd on the island? I have to have a reason to play. I never play at home unless I'm working on something, ever. I never play without either rehearsal, songwriting, live, recording. Unless it's something, the last thing I would do would be play a guitar. Never noodle, never do anything like that.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm lazy like that.
I don't think it's lazy. I think it's the opposite of lazy.
I like to spend time away from the guitar, and then when I come to it, I feel excited about it. Otherwise, I just run the same.
I don't think it's lazy at all. I think it's important to have a purpose when you play, and I think a lot of young kids could benefit from that. Because I know a lot of kids, they play all the time, but then when it comes to the real gig, they freeze up or whatever, they freak out, and it's like, because you shouldn't be playing when you're sitting watching Bugs Bunny on TV. You should be rehearsing, or you should be writing a song, or you should be playing with your band, or you should do something with a goal. So, like, I totally agree with you. I mean, the last thing that you want to do when you're not working is work. So, like, you have to treat your instrument like it's your work, if it's your life, it's really important. I've got a PRS signature model. I'll be playing it today. I must have had it when I saw you last.
Yes.
So that was it.
That was it.
That was it. And
The black one.
The black one. Yeah, the black one, and it's really gorgeous. And signature stuff. I guess that's about it.
Yeah, I'm still playing my signature guitars, and I also have signature strings with rotor sound with my gauges. I always had to, my gauges are kind of like a little bit different, so I always had to buy strings individually. But then we've made a set with rotor sound that's available, so that's really cool. But that's about it. I mean, I'm not really that big on endorsements anymore. It's like relationships you have to maintain, and once you sign up with a company, you sort of owe them. There's a relationship there, and you kind of have to give something back, and appearances and stuff like that. I find it's very difficult to maintain that when you tour as much as I do. I just the way I promote the stuff is just actually by playing it. I use it when I play live. I use it when I record, and I think that's probably the best promotion you can give. Or relationship you can have with a company.
Yeah, I have. I've been working with Schecter guitars now for the past 7 years, and I have my own JL7 7-string guitar with them. It's an awesome guitar, killer guitar. It's also coming out in 6-string at the end of this month, and going to be introducused for NAMM 2015. and absolutely love working with him. Great relationship. Very affordable guitarist too, so they do quite well.
You got a good sales pitch.
Yeah.
I forgot that. I got to do that.
He's a keeper.
Very affordable.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say cheap.
Yeah.
You know, that's what
That's
they tell you.
affordable.
Don't say
Affordable.
cheap. Say affordable.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that we touched on earlier, which was healthy competition in the guitar community. I think, competition's always healthy, but there are always those people that take it too far. Like, there was a story in the news a couple of days ago about Jason Becker, and he's championing a 13-year-old young guitar player and telling the world, this guy's great.
Is he really?
Yeah, and
I saw this.
people commented underneath, and some people were like, oh, he's crap and all this stuff. And there was negativity. And Jason actually took to Facebook and actually said, what the hell are you guys doing? We should be supporting each other. If I read those comments when I was 13, I would have just put the guitar down and given up. And suddenly he made sense of that. I'd love to know what are your opinions on healthy competition within musicality and guitar playing?
Well, just so you know, there's no competition in the real world of playing music. I mean, I don't think any of us have ever went to a gig and thought, I'm competing with that guy. So I think competition is simply in the minds of young people who are just starting to play the instrument, who think that bands compete with each other.
Yeah.
It's just not so. And, even if we've never met, we admire each other's work, even if we don't like the music, because they're doing the same job as we are, and they're succeeding, or they're doing their thing. And you don't have to like the music. You don't have to think the guy's the greatest technician on guitar. You're just like, oh, I see what you guys are doing. It's cool. There's no competition in real life. And I think anybody who says anything negative about anybody really is just really wasting their time. And that's time that could be well spent doing things to further your own abilities and your own, musical ambition. And the best thing to do is stay off the internet.
Yeah.
And I've got a funny story about this if you have time for it. Back when the internet first started, well, not when the internet first started, when they first started doing those things, I don't know, YouTube or Facebook with the comments and stuff, I had something up online and there was a lot of comments in there and I was reading it. And somebody just was like, had it out for me. It's like, dude, you suck. You fucking suck. You bastard. This is awful. You're playing this terrible. And like, of course, that stands out because everybody else is like, it's great or whatever. And then I'm like, why has this guy got it in for me? And this is like maybe 2004 or 5, beginning of YouTube or Facebook or something, a long time ago. And I looked up this guy. I clicked on his thing and I looked at the guy, and it was the saddest looking guy I've ever seen.
It was me.
No. It wasn't you. It was you. It all comes out. No, I mean, it was like just the most depressing guy, and he was like huge, and his like face was all distorted, and he had sad things written on his profile. I was like, I can't find a girl, and I just wish somebody would talk to me, and I'm like, oh, my life sucks. And it was so depressing. And this guy is going around like bad mouthing people. And I'm really sorry that I looked into that, because I really didn't want to know. Now that I feel sorry for this guy. First I was a little pissed off, but then I'm like, now I have to feel sorry for this poor guy. He's like really in a sad situation. I mean, imagine the guy. I mean, what has he got to do to like write bad things about people? So then I thought, there's no purpose in reading any of this stuff, because if you read the good stuff, you're going to get a big head. Especially all of us have guys wanking us all the time, constantly. You guys are so great. You guys are so great. Of course, we love hearing it, but there's no reason to read that stuff on the internet. And there's also no reason to read the negative things like that, because you'll find out, as I did, that people who write negative things really have sad situations that I don't want to know about. So when I found that out, I kind of like had epiphany. I'm like, just never read this stuff and you'll be better off. And ever since then, I just never have. So I think it's a good idea. So I don't think Jason should be offended by reading what people said about this 13-year-old kid. I think it should be completely ignored. If Jason's behind it, that's good enough for me. But if you get involved in like what every single person in the world thinks, you're going to be wasting a whole lot of effort.
You lose a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's really not
Same
healthy.
with reviews, actually. I mean, I hate to say it to you, but I don't read them. Like for the last album, when we put out a new Arch Enemy album, War Eternal, it's just reviewed in so many places online and magazines. And I just the label will tell me it's got great reviews, and I'm like, great. No, obviously there are going to be bad ones in there as well, but then, you know, if you read one, then you got to if you believe the good reviews, then you got to believe the bad ones as well. You know? So,
the good ones don't help you out. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know it's good.
It seems like the whole internet thing though has really gotten a lot more negative in the last last 5 years, from what I've seen. You know what I mean? People used to really be supportive in the metal community, and it was cool, but in the last 5 years, it's just like it's like a big pissing contest, you know. It's like, it is a competition of some sorts, and it's kind of weak, man.
Well, I
don't pay any attention to
the people who write that stuff are kind of like us when we were like 14.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was a kid, it was a big pissing match. Fuck you, Kiss is better than Aerosmith. Fuck you. It was
so that's just you and your friends in the bedroom. You and
your friends, and now it's like everywhere. So I don't think that's really changed, but the pros shouldn't hear what those 14-year-old kids are saying. You know, it's not information that we need to know.
Yeah.
And that will benefit us in any way. So there's a lot of negativity everywhere, but once you grow up and get into the real world, that completely goes away, and you start to try to figure out how to do your job.
Very true.
That's spot on. Thank you so much, guys.